This is the Weekly Scramble, a place where we chat about life over a cold one or two. It's time to belly up to the pod with Mike Fratelloni and your host, Chris Reavers.
That's right. It's time for the Weekly Scramble podcast. My name is Chris Reavers. With me, as always, is Mike Fratelloni. Hello, Michael.
How you doing, Reavers?
I'm doing well, and I'm glad to be joined by Kyle Stokes. He has a great piece at Axios Twin Cities, and I'm finding myself finding their website more and more these days. It's Axios.com.
Very true.
And he did a piece on Omar Fateh winning the mayoral endorsement at a chaotic DFL convention, and Kyle has been kind enough to join us. Hello, Kyle.
Hello there. How's it going?
Good. So I read your piece. In fact, Mike is the one that recommended it to me this morning. And after I read it, you did a great job laying out a lot of things. And I just want to ask you, how did this happen, and what exactly happened with this nomination?
Well, I mean, so there's the two kind of events that happened yesterday. One is this sort of huge, I mean, it is a win for the left wing of Minneapolis's DFL party. The other thing is the sort of procedural drama that took all day Saturday and saw, you know, kind of 1,000 unsuspecting, you know, like sad sacks like me stuck inside on a beautiful day during a political convention. But I mean, you know, so it was a long day. The vote, you know, the long story short is that the voting system that the party hoped to use didn't work right. And after hours and hours of delays and one first ballot that Mayor Jacob Frey's camp disputes the accuracy of, with about an hour left in the convention, you know, the people who were sitting in Target Center, you know, about, you know, a couple hundred people, you know, the Frey campaign, you know, concerned over how things were going, they had already pulled their supporters out. They were not trusting how the system was working. Might have been an effort to deny quorum, to basically shut down the convention. The campaign says that's not really what was happening, but in any event, you know, the remaining delegates that are there hold up their badges, and they do this sort of modified vote where they say everyone who wants to endorse Omar Fateh, raise your badges, and most of the people remaining in the seats at that point raise their badges, and that was all that was needed to sort of do the endorsement by this sort of like voice vote acclamation thing. Mm-hmm. It is a pretty, you know, stunning moment given the fact that there has not been an endorsement given by the Minneapolis DFL party, you know, in a truly contested race going back almost 3 decades. So it's a big moment in that sense, and you know, it's difficult to say where there's a sign of where things are going, but it was remarkable.
And that was the next point I wanted to bring up with you, Kyle, because I did not know that until I read your piece, that it's also Minneapolis's first DFL endorsement in any contested mayor's race since at least 1997. And I want to ask, well, then why? Why did this happen now? Yeah,
I mean, I think it's just that the party, you know, there are a couple of one of them is that you know, there have been walkouts in the past where it looked like an endorsement was going to come through. The other thing is that Minneapolis runs ranked choice elections, and most of the most serious candidates in a deep blue city like Minneapolis want the DFL party's endorsement. So you end up with a party convention where, you know, you've got a lot of serious. Now, Jacob Frey has not won that endorsement in the past himself. So, you know, he finished second in 2017 and in 2021, and he went on to win both years. You know, so this type of division within the party is totally normal. But what you're seeing is that a very well-organized group of activists, you know, kind of had their act together and were able to put together a winning argument at yesterday's convention.
Hey, Kyle, if Mayor Frey's delegates or fans there would have stayed there all through the night, right, which they had to stay for like another hour, they would have not allowed Omar to get over 50%, correct?
You know, maybe not. I mean, this is the thing that I think is, you know, kind of going to be the asterisk over this forever, is that there were these issues with counting the ballots. But that first ballot that was taken, which the party says, you know, there's no problem with the number of votes that were collected. It just took forever to count. Mm-hmm. You know, and in that ballot, Omar Fateh got 43% of the vote, and Frey got about 30% of the vote. But another anti-Fry candidate, Reverend Dwayne Davis, got about 20% of the vote,
Sure.
and 60% for an endorsement, and it sure looks like a lot of Davis folks on the second ballot, such as it was, moved over to Fateh. Fateh could have won this even if the process had worked as it was intended.
Mm-hmm. Well, I find that very interesting. I'm going to take this to a conspiracy theory, Reavers. I think Russians were meddling in another election, and they said, we want Fateh in Minneapolis. It's possible. And I'm also naming Omar right now. He's OMH. It's Omar Mahmoud Fateh. So we're going to refer to him only as OMH. Just like OAC, OMH just kind of has a nice ring to it.
Sure.
Let me restate that. Mayor OMH, because I predict OMF. I predict he's going to win.
Well, and Kyle, that's what I was going to ask you. So, okay, we had the primary. We had there's been I mean, what does this mean? Because I had asked this earlier today on Garage Logic. I had said, well, okay, does this mean they're both still going to run? Does this mean he's going to run as an independent? What does this mean?
Yeah, Mayor Fry is staying in the race for sure. He's still, and in fact, he may still be the favorite. So I mean, this is as I mentioned, the history of the endorsements in the past, and he's going to go into the election with a lot of cash. He's not running he's running as an independent, but in most Minneapolis mayor's races, most of the people running are true, Democrats, even if they don't necessarily have that DFL party brand. But I do think that, it's a somewhat tiresome analogy, but what happened in New York City, and the analogy to the triumph of another young Democratic Socialist state lawmaker in that city's mayoral primary, Zoran Mamdani beating former Governor Andrew Cuomo. Part of what went into that is that there was a slate of anti-Cuomo candidates. Don't rank Cuomo was part of the factor in how Mamdani won that. Mm-hmm. And in Minneapolis, we are seeing a very clear slate. You only get 3 choices in ranked choice voting in Minneapolis, and there are 3, anti-Fry candidates. And, I think that the Mamdani example shows that, that strategy can work. So, I mean, if you want to project something forward from this, it's that anti-Fry slate, that don't rank Fry slate, is potentially more organized and has its act together, more cohesive than it was at least 4 years ago.
When Omar won, Kyle, I went and looked him up because I had to learn a little bit more about him. Here's some interesting facts for our listeners. He was born in 1990. That makes him 35 years old. Reavers, was he born in Somalia? Do you know?
I don't believe so.
He was not.
I think he was born in D.C.
He was born in Washington, D.C. He was born in the swamp. And it kind of bugs me because his father has been here since 1960, immigrated from Somalia in 1960. So he's been an American a very long time. Omar's been an American his entire life, right? And I find it interesting that he was born in D.C. He graduated from grad school from George Mason University. I mean, he is ingrained in politics, right? He is living in the swamp. Finally, he comes here about 10, 12 years ago, 2018, and runs for something here and starts picking up the political process here. But how strange is that I thought he was a scrappy young kid who grew up in Minnesota, the first kind of Somalian Minnesotan, that one thing, something like that. Nope. He's straight from the D.C. swamp coming here to win in politics, right? And I find that really, really fascinating that I did not know that about him. I didn't know that he had his MPA in public administration from George Mason University. That seems surprising to me.
Well, and the other thing too is I believe, and Kyle, I don't know I can't remember if this is part of your piece or something else that I had read. He basically was not elected to join a school board in Washington D.C., thus then made his way towards the Twin Cities and the state of Minnesota. And it just goes to
heard of that.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you that there's just a section of the fabric of our society that's their career path. It's just simply politics, and that's it. That's the end game, right?
Yeah, I have a theory, Kyle, that if you don't have children, maybe you shouldn't be on the school board unless you're have been an educator for years and you really know the process. Maybe you've been a principal or an educator for 20 years and now you want to be on the school board. But if you're like a 20-year-old guy and want to be on the school board, that seems weird to me. Like, why do you want to be on the school board? Your point is taken, Chris. It's people that just want to be in politics.
Yep.
Right? Just want to be in politics.
So, Kyle, let me ask you this, because I think I speak for, again, I did not grow up in the Twin Cities, full disclosure. I grew up in Faribault, Minnesota. I went to college in Mankato, but I've worked in Minneapolis since 2001. And I've always loved working in the city, and I really have. And my love for working in the city, I will say this, it has waned a bit over the years. I now don't live in the metro area anymore. But the problem that I'm seeing is the slow, it's like a paper cut after paper cut after paper cut. And what I see is the slow decline, whether it's, downtown businesses that are not open anymore, or just even trying to go to a Twins game or go to a concert or whatever. It just feels like that fabric that used to be so great, the decay is just slowly happening. And I got to be honest, when you install somebody like this, and Omar Fateh, who, and these are my words, he has been involved in, whether it's family members or significant others that have been involved in several instances of corruption. I'm really fearful if this guy becomes the mayor of the city of Minneapolis.
I think it's clear that whoever becomes the mayor of Minneapolis is going to face, some significant headwinds. When you're talking about, downtown, the downtown real estate market has completely, the office market for commercial real estate has collapsed. That's sent a tidal wave of property tax burdens sort of rippling outward into the neighborhoods, and a lot of regular people really feel that. Now, the other thing that's sort of going on the left right now is this discussion about, how do you, this sort of abundance discussion, how do we talk about, what's the future for a pro-business Democratic Party? And, you look at, a guy like Mayor Fry, and, his whole point is that we've got a real argument that we are doing all of the right things in Minneapolis. I take downtown Minneapolis over downtown St. Paul at the moment, and I say that as a St. Paul resident. And we're also talking about, housing. The Minneapolis has been able to help, to build a lot more affordable housing. As Mayor Fry says, that their affordable housing, production rates have been high, or a lot higher in the decade that he's been in office. And so, I think that, the question is whether that approach has really worked, really meant bottom line improvements for the city. Because Omar Fateh says a lot of that isn't trickling down to real working class people, which is why he's talking about things like, going further on housing costs and things like rent control, and saying that that's necessary to help keep the city affordable, as we know that rents on the very lowest end of the spectrum can vary wildly and can shoot up drastically for people, who are kind of the most vulnerable renters in the city. So, it's interesting because this is an argument that's taking place entirely within the Democratic Party establishment that's currently grappling with what should the message be moving forward, when their cities face a lot of really important challenges in this kind of post-pandemic world that we live in.
It is strange for me as a middle-of-the-road common sense party guy, Kyle, to hear the words Democrat socialist and winning the DFL endorsement. You're not necessarily a DFLer, you're a Democrat socialist, or just, I actually think the word socialist should come first, because socialism is a totally different thing than standard DFLers, right? When you look at his major authored legislative bills that he authored, it was fentanyl test strip access, right? Wanted to have that. Fateh brought that in. Tuition-free college for families under $80,000. Minimum wage and labor protection for Uber and Lyft drivers, where he almost took Uber and Lyft
drove them out of the city.
Right out of town, right? And, to be fair, I don't know this guy. I don't know him. I do want to tell you this. Like, Scott Jensen had a look that bothered me. He didn't look professional for me running for governor. This guy running for mayor, someone needs to tell him to shave his chin and fix his eyebrows.
Okay.
He has an intensity about him that is different looking, right? And the more that people get to know him, he looks weird, a little weird. Is that wrong for me to say? I don't know, but just shave it up a little bit. You can't grow a beard. Shave it up. Clean up the look. I know that's petty, but I think
you trying to play part-time fashionista.
I want to play part-time. If you got a chance to do this, if you're going to become our next mayor, look good. Look, right. Mayor Fry looks good all the time. He's got a clean haircut, clean shaven. I don't know. Is that so petty that I get down to that basic crap?
I think Kyle agrees with you. He wants him to shave too.
I guess Kyle might be agnostic on that point.
No comment, guys. No comment. I'm talking to you in my work from home best right now. Like my stretchy pants.
Sure.
Let's not get into that.
Kyle, thank you so much, man. I really enjoyed your work, and it was great having you on. And maybe we could do this again down the road, but appreciate your time, man, as all. Thank you so much.
You betcha. Thanks, guys.
And if you want more information, just go to Axios.com. Axios Twin Cities is where you can find that piece on Kyle, and I will post a link to the Weekly Scramble show page so that you can access that piece as well. And Mike, I got to tell you, man, when I saw this circulate Saturday night / Sunday morning, and I just went, we're done. I mean, I wanted to get into way more of this in the next segment, but I gotta tell you just how bad I think that this is for a city that I love. I do. I love Minneapolis.
If he wins.
Anyway.
If he wins.
You know what I can tell you though right now is we are nuts.
As a city?
We're just nuts. That's right. But we are nuts, and we are nutsmn.com. I've got to tell you, you frat packers, you truly just blow me away.
I love it.
Everybody's posting about where they're picking up their nuts, including your suggestion last week, which is Max Hardware.
Did they have some posts? I didn't even know that.
A bunch of people were posting that they walked into Max and purchased their We Are Nuts, and that's fantastic. But right now, if you go to their website, if you're not able to make it to either Fratelloni's or Max or Lunds and Byerly's or Kowalski's, what you can do is go to their website, which is wearenutsmn.com, and you can place your order, and through the end of the month of July, you are going to get $10 off the famous Best of Toffee Nuts Nut House 4-pack. That includes the Maple Bourbon Toffee Almonds, which are slowly becoming the favorite of yours truly, but also the original Toffee Peanuts, the Cinnamon Toasted Toffee Peanuts, and the Hot Nuts Toffee Peanuts. But you're going to get $10 off right now if you use the promo code GL Nuthouse. That's GL Nuthouse, all one word, and you're going to get $10 off that Best of Toffee Nuts Nuthouse 4-pack. So go online to wearenutsmn.com and place your order today. The Weekly Scramble. We will be right back. I try not to be the doom and gloom guy.
Really?
I really do try.
I try
hard.
very hard.
I know, but that's because I've just been beaten down, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get a little heavy here, Mike.
Okay.
So when I saw this story surface that Omar Fateh had received the DFL endorsement, up until this past Saturday, I'd often joked with Joe, well, who cares? Because once Mayor Fateh takes over, it's all over with anyway, right? But now it's getting serious, because here's the problem. When you have a candidate like Omar Fateh, and this is all documented, right? Because I spent like 2 hours yesterday morning just going through all of this stuff, because I thought, but here's what I love how we conveniently forget that this guy's wife was indicted on the Feeding Our Future
Are you
scandal.
sure that's his wife?
150%.
I can't even find that he's married online.
Because I remember us not only talking about this on the show.
Allegedly. Let's say allegedly, because I don't even know if he has a wife.
Trust me.
Okay.
I'll use the word allegedly,
Okay.
but I'm not even remotely close to being worried about that. He has a brother-in-law who was indicted on perjury charges relating to voter issues. I'm not going to say the F word,
Sure.
R-A-U-D, but they had that issue. I'm just so tired of this kind of crap seeping into decisions and politics in ways that are going to directly affect the likes of you and me. I'm so bleeping sick and tired of the state that I love, the state I have lived in my entire life, being now run by people who aren't from here, weren't born here, have no vested interest.
Meaning Minnesota,
that aren't from here, that want to tell me how to live my life and are telling me and my family what we're going to do with your tax. I'm so freaking sick of this. I could vomit. I'm going to tell you what.
Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
The fact that you have Jacob Fry, and this might hurt our chances of having Jacob Fry on the show, but you had this pandering, weak mayor who let his city freaking burn in the name of not trying to upset protesters in the wake of George Floyd, who bended a knee and sobbed at his coffin at his service, and dresses up in his mom jeans to dance and delivered a message in Somalian just about a month ago. The fact that this guy isn't good enough for the DFL anymore, I'm sorry, Minneapolis, you are getting what you are voting for, and nobody is going to feel sorry for you.
You know, what's he supposed to do, Reavers? If he wants to
be a leader?
Okay, yeah, but if you don't, so the message that he gave in Somalian, if you don't do that, you don't have a chance to get that vote. He's probably not going to get the vote anyways.
He's not going to get it anyways.
But you still might have to try, because there might be other people that say, he's a good guy. Our city's going in the right direction. He's always been good for us. You have to, I'm going to air quote, pander to your side, right? And I still think he has a very good chance of maintaining his position as mayor, and winning this contest. It's going to be tight. When you talked about these, I'm going to say alleged because I just can't find them, and I'm just trying to protect us. Just alleged crimes of maybe Omar Mahmoud. I'm going to say it. Let me get it right because I really want to make that catch on. So Omar Mahmoud Fateh.
Okay.
OMF. My brain is not working today.
It's okay.
But if that guy, any press that he gets with his name, people aren't looking deeply enough, Reavers.
No.
They're not looking deeply enough.
Which is why we're in this mess to begin with.
Yes, it's another time someone heard his name. It's another click, I know who that is. I've heard of him before. Oh, he's this, he's this, he's this. And people don't look deeply enough. Many people don't look deeply enough. So any press is good press, even if it's tied to something horrible, right? Do you believe how you're asking, how would anybody vote for this guy? Well, people might be light users of the media, although I'd argue that the 1,000 people that were there at the DFL committee were heavy users of political media.
But here's the other problem in a nutshell. And when you saw the photos start to surface of this convention and those that were holding up the Omar Fateh campaign signs.
Yep.
Here's what got us into this trouble. A, it's apathy, like you were just mentioning. The people that have just thrown their hands up and saying, "I don't want to pay attention to politics, and I don't care because I don't pay enough attention, so I don't vote or whatever." But it's the white liberal guilt. That's what's gotten into this mess. And if you see one of those photos, that's all it is. It's the man bun wearing dude that probably biked his way to Target Center for this convention, and it's the blue haired. I'm going to get my $16 cup of coffee in Uptown. That's what's got us into this.
How does the DFL drag those people back? How do they drag them back to the center? How do they make them? Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton Democrats again, or
I don't know.
Barack Obama Democrats again.
I don't know.
Can
honest to God, don't know. And the thing is, Mike, I'm going to go back to what you said about Fry. What's he supposed to do? And I'll put it to you this way. I'll give Fry credit because the whole defund the police movement, he wanted no part of it. Omar Fateh does.
Yeah.
Omar Fateh was one of the people.
Says he does today.
But he was one of the people on the forefront of this. Mike, he just had a campaign video last week. We played it on GL. He had a campaign video last week that basically said, "I'm going to do this when I become mayor."
Sure.
And this whole notion, his tagline is, "I want a city that works for everybody." No, what you want is you want to become a welfare city. That's what you want for all these freeloaders that are here living off the company dime.
Do you think that's what he wants?
100%.
Really?
Absolutely 100%.
I don't know. I just don't believe.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
He doesn't envision the Minneapolis that me and a lot of others want, where it's a vibrant downtown, fun, safe streets to go take your kids to a ball game.
Does.
No, he does not.
Yes, he does. Reavers, he does. Do you think he wants to have shitty downtown with dangerous people running around? No, he doesn't.
So you think he has the same vision that I do?
I think the way he thinks he's going to get there is wrong, right? Okay. I don't agree with the way he thinks he's going to get there.
Okay.
But to pretend that he doesn't want a vibrant city is wrong. He does.
But what would be a vibrant city for Omar Fateh?
Probably the definition is not that different than what we'd think a vibrant city is.
You don't think so?
Honest to God, I really don't. I do think he's pandering to his side by saying, "Oh, you don't want police? Yeah, you're right. I don't want police either." I don't really believe people truly believe it's a good idea to get rid of the police. I think 3% do, right? But I think Omar Fateh probably doesn't. I'd be shocked if he actually believed that. Look at all the hypocrite bullcrap politicians who said, "Let's do it, that's a good idea," and then they turn around a year later and vote for more money for the police, right? They had to say it at that time. He has to say it at the time. He has to say it because he has to, the standard person in Minneapolis is not going to get off their ass and go vote. They're just not going to do it. Republicans are not going to get off their ass and go vote. What they have to do is, if you're on the right side, you have to stand up and you have to go vote for Mayor Fry. And you need to 100% do that so Mayor Fry has a blowout.
So I guess here's the other problem that I'm having with this, and it's that I get it. I understand that Minnesota and Minneapolis and the Twin Cities in general has the highest Somalian population in the country.
Sure.
However, and I see it. I mean, I was at a bunch of things over the weekend. I saw it all over the place, and it's fine. If you and your family decided to come here to enjoy the American way of life, to contribute, to go work, more power to you.
Makes sense. I won't
come on
necessarily want to live in Somalia either.
But the problem is, while that's true, we have the highest Somalian population in the country. That is 100% true. The problem is the Somalian population still only makes up, I think it's less than 5% of the Twin Cities.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it that we continue to cater to and now have you know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? We continue to cater to a certain demographic, and I have a massive problem with that.
So a 40-year-old Democrat woman, you think she's catering to the Somali population by voting for Omar Fateh?
Yes.
What if she just believes what he says?
I think that 40-year-old woman is voting out of white guilt.
You really do?
100%.
Okay.
Yep.
I hope that's the case, because if that's the case, he might win this last, endorsement, but he wouldn't win the general election, because I don't think a whole bunch of people put those two things together. First of all, his parents immigrated from Somalia. He was born in America. He went to high school in America. Right. He's a high school kid, right? Every day he was speaking English at home, probably, right? I mean, his dad came in 1960. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
His dad was probably a little kid when he came here, if he came here in 1960. Right? I mean, he couldn't have been terribly old.
Mike, I have seen both. You know what? I'll bring it up. I don't care. Both what's happened to my hometown. Mm-hmm. We have a very large Somalian population in Faribault, Minnesota. I brought this up a year ago when I went to my niece's high school graduation. Mm-hmm. And I just saw how, again, it's a certain demographic where they don't want to listen to the rules. They don't care about the procedure. They don't care about respect. That's the word I'm looking for. That's why I have such an issue with this. It's the lack of respect for your fellow Twin Cities resident, for your fellow parent at a high school graduation. I'm tired of this.
Going to push back. What does Omar have to do with that?
No.
Omar's an American.
I'm saying the identity of having to cater to a certain demographic because you're fearful of being labeled either racist, Islamophobic,
sure,
whatever. That's a real thing.
Yeah,
that's a very real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been called that.
Sure.
And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. I have a problem with behavior, not with a certain culture.
Sure,
that's my problem.
So I go back to Omar's an American. He was born. Yep. He was born here. He lived in Washington, D.C.
But
he's more of a swamp creature.
He still refers to Somalia as home. There's clips all over the place of him saying that.
Well, I think someone should call him out and say, "Hey, that's not your home. You were born in Washington, D.C."
I couldn't agree more.
He probably has done the exact same things we did as a kid.
Probably.
See, you know what? What we forget is that I'm going back to he's a human, right? He probably did human things as a kid. And he probably was just a normal kid for a long time, right? Now he's in politics. So now he has to cater to he needs to get to a certain point to get enough people to pay attention to him. There's other Somali residents that are in politics in America, in Minnesota, right? I'm sure there are, right?
Sure.
There's got to be some on the city council of Minneapolis, I'd imagine. We don't maybe not know their names because Omar's making a name for himself. Will he win? I don't know. Will he won't win? Who knows? Right? But he's making a name for himself. And if he wants to be in politics and go up this chain, he's got to be on the edge of things. You can't be in the middle.
His name is Mike Fratelloni. My name is Chris Reavers. This is the Weekly Scramble Podcast, and we will be right back. Can we please change the subject?
I think we gotta.
A sad note. I saw this actually towards the end of the Garage Logic podcast today. And it made me very sad because this is a show that I grew up with. But Malcolm Jamal Warner, also known as Theodore Huxtable, he passed away yesterday. He died of asphyxia after he was caught by a high current in the ocean, according to ABC News. His body was reportedly found Sunday afternoon. The only son on the Cosby Show. It was in Costa Rica at the age of 54. I'm trying to get more information here. And I got to tell you, I really liked that show. Obviously, what's happened with Bill post that show. But I liked the show for a couple of reasons. It was funny.
Wholesome.
It was wholesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I liked it so much. And you, even though it was hard as a white kid in Rice County to identify with a black family
Sure.
in New York. I really enjoyed the show, and I thought he was a great character.
You identified because everyone was just human, and they were just Americans, and they were just human beings.
Yeah.
Right? What I didn't get about that show, Reavers, and help me understand this.
Sure.
It was called The Cosby Show. Well, if it was called The Cosby Show, who are the Huxtables?
I remember seeing an interview, again, years ago,
Sure.
before Bill got himself embroiled in controversy. There was an explanation as to why the family's last name was Huxtable, and I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But he had an answer for that's why.
It was probably going to be called the Huxtables, and then they said, Bill, your last name is more. It
has more
resonates with more
cachet.
people.
Yeah, for sure.
People know who Bill Cosby is.
And I think the other reason too is, he on that show was just a little bit older than me. And so I kind of identified because we were around the same age.
Sure.
But there were so many great scenes of him acting on that show. But I was sad. I was kind of bummed out when I saw that. That's terrible.
Yeah, that's, you surely don't want anybody to pass away.
The best episode,
horrible.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off
That's
again.
all right.
The best episode featuring him was, I don't remember if it was the episode, where his dad, meaning Bill Cosby, was trying to teach him how the world works in relation to money.
Oh, I saw
Do you remember
that.
this one?
Yes.
Where
Yeah.
it's basically, he's like, I'm just going to get a job, because he didn't want to.
Here's $300.
He didn't think college was going to be for him, and not that college was the end all be all by all means, but he just said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to play You're Now an Adult Living on Your Own. He's like, all right, here's $300. And he says, you want an apartment, right? Okay, take that away, take that away. He's like, see, I got $50 left at the end of the month. He says, there's one problem. You haven't eaten yet.
Oh,
and it was fantastic.
Yep.
It was a good episode. I really liked
What
that.
a shame that Bill Cosby had to be such a rapist creep.
Yeah,
right?
that puts a damper on things,
it's
doesn't
just
it?
like he could have had, if he wouldn't have been a rapist creep, just a total creep,
Right.
dirtball pervert, he could have been just an icon in this country.
Yeah.
He was an icon for years.
I remember-
Everybody wanted a dad like Bill Cosby.
I remember one of his specials was on, and the girl I was dating at the time, her mother was watching the show. And I remember we were sitting down, and I remember her mother saying, I just love him so much. And I thought, why is it? Well, I just like that his shows are just nice and clean because he doesn't swear, and he just seems like a really wholesome guy. And that quote stuck with me, or
Sure.
that scene stuck with me up until when the story broke. Because I remember when the story broke, I was down the hall working at the My Talk station when that broke, because we were on the air when that happened. I went, oh my God, this is a massive story. Anyway,
I remember we've had guests on in the past. In our last 12 years of doing the show, we've had guests on where we're like talking the guest up, right? And it's really a big deal. And then the moment the show is released, we get calls saying, hey, that person, they were not representing themselves clearly. You just gave a person that's not so great. I'm not going to say names here. But my point is, like, we've interviewed people that we liked that turned out to be not necessarily great people, right? That's where I'm going with this. I wonder how many people during the Cosby time knew or had experienced Bill Cosby and said, hey, America, Bill Cosby's this pervert rapist.
I remember, who is it? Lisa Monet? Is that her name?
Lisa Monet, yeah.
She was the one that was married to Lenny Kravitz,
Lisa
correct?
Bonet or Monet?
Well, whatever.
Okay.
She played the oldest sister, the
Beautiful.
second oldest
Just
sister
beautiful.
on the show, because the oldest sister, I believe, was married and didn't live at home. But anyway, I think it's whatever. But her first name is Lisa, and I remember she was being interviewed after this had all happened, and she said all of us were stunned. Because on the set or any time we were in public, he quite literally treated us all like his own kids.
Oh, that's
he was
nice.
very protective of us. He was. I remember watching that interview because she said. I remember her saying that they were all stunned by what they found out and what they heard. So,
so he hit it a little bit better. You'd hope that she didn't come out and say, yeah, we knew he was a creep show.
And let me give you examples.
Yeah,
A,
let
B,
me
and C.
tell you why. This is why I had to marry a guy who's a monster to protect me, right? I don't know. It's really sad. God bless him, Malcolm Jamal Warner, right? I hope he's going to where he needs to be. Very, very sad news. He's my age, right? So I felt it a little bit more. Reavers, do you know what the most difficult part of a house is to repair?
Mike, I don't know what that is.
It's the windows, because they're very painful.
Oh God.
Thank you. My Uncle Doug sent me that one. Thanks, Doug. It was not a good one.
No, Doug, you're getting set to the back of the line.
You're off, but at least I read it. I promised I'd read it to you. What he doesn't know about that joke is that we only accept the best jokes.
That's right.
You know why we only accept the best?
Why?
Because you are the best.
Thank you, Michael. Please do us a favor, rate and review the show wherever you happen to be listening to the Weekly Scramble podcast. We appreciate all of you that have done so already. That really, really helps us out, and we appreciate that, and we also appreciate you listening to the show. That's Mike Fredoloni. My name is Chris Reavers. Thank you so very much for tuning into the Weekly Scramble podcast. We'll talk to you again next time. Until then, cheers.
I am